All right, so I was shunned completely by one of my Jehovah's Witness friends simply because I had pointed this out to them. All right, so I was friends with this person for a while, and we would have friendly conversations about religion every once in a while. Eventually, we got onto the topic of the correct pronunciation of God in the Bible. And I had pointed out that Jehovah is not the most accurate pronunciation of God in the Bible. And they were taken back and completely shocked by me saying this. They're saying, no, it's God's one true name. How can you say that's not God's true name when that's God's true name? And I was trying to explain to them, well, do you know where the name Jehovah even came from? And they're like, well, what do you mean? That's just God's name in the Bible. And I was trying to explain to them, well, no, you have Yod-He, Vav-He, and then you have Adonai. A long time ago, they did not want to pronounce God's most holy name of Yod-He, Vav-He. And so to protect against that, they would take the vowels of Adonai, which just means Lord or Master in Hebrew, and they would intertwine the vowels with Yod-He, Vav-He in the Hebrew. All right, so Yod-He, Vav-He plus the vowels in Adonai are intertwined, which gives us the word Jehovah. And Wes Huff does a good job of explaining this as well.
Scribes, in order to remember not to say Yahweh, but Adonai, would point the vowels Adonai into the consonants of Yahweh. This resulted in a nonsense word that, if read out loud, would sound something like Yahovah, but no one ever said Yahovah. This was merely a scribal stylistic reminder that when they saw God's name, to not read Yahweh out loud.
So I simply had pointed this out to them, that there were 14th century monks who were not aware that the ancient Jews had done this, and, the name Jehovah had become popularized. Now, to pour a little bit more salt on the wound, I also explained to them how the Jehovah's Witness organization itself even admits in multiple ways that Jehovah is not the most accurate pronunciation of God in the Bible. So if you go to jw.org, /en/library/videos, you'll see where they have their broadcasts and their talks. All right. So if you do a search for the divine name, it'll pull up Geoffrey Jackson. And then at around the 8-minute mark, he readily admits this.
Just how important is the exact pronunciation of the original Hebrew name? Could we get sidetracked by trying to determine what that pronunciation was? Well, first of all, let's establish why we use the pronunciation Jehovah in English. Is it because it's the closest pronunciation to the original? No. We use the name Jehovah because it's widely recognized in English.
All right, so I simply shared this video with them. Surely we can be reasonable. Surely we can be logical. Surely you can just readily admit that this is something that your own organization admits. And for whatever reason, maybe I seemed too challenging. Maybe I seemed too threatening. Maybe they got scared because they had never heard this before. Maybe this was shocking to them. And so I was completely cut off, completely shunned. And I'm not even an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I've never been a Jehovah's Witness, but here I am, not even an ex-Jehovah's Witness and still getting shunned by Jehovah's Witnesses. It's incredible. Anyways, what's also very fascinating to me is the fact that after having debated for hours and hours with Jehovah's Witnesses online and speaking with some very intelligent ones, they readily admit that Jehovah is not the most correct pronunciation, and they are totally fine with this. So it is very interesting. On one hand, you'll get some Jehovah's Witnesses that will die on the hill and say, no, it's our branding. It's our website. It's what we're called. It's the one true name of God, and our organization has laid claim to it. And our organization has it right. Our organization is going by the true name and true pronunciation of God, and everyone else is just a flaming heretic and is completely wrong. Well, no, So you'll have those kinds of Jehovah's Witnesses on one extreme, and then you'll have other Jehovah's Witnesses on the other side who will readily admit and say, well, no, it's actually not the most correct pronunciation. In fact, it was a Jehovah's Witness who showed me this. All right, so this is from the Watchtower publication of 1950. I believe this was right after the New World Translation had been published. So they're giving an explanation as to why they went with the name Jehovah in the translation. And it says, why then does the New World Translation use the name Jehovah 237 times in its main text? Is it due to shallow scholarship, as you insinuate? No. In the foreword from page 10 to 25, the translation committee explains its basis for using this name so many times. But in its second to last paragraph, the translation committee says, while inclining to view the pronunciation Yahweh as the more correct way, we have retained the form Jehovah because of people's familiarity with it since the 14th century. And then the Watchtower goes on to also state, at the Yankee Stadium, when giving his speech introducing the New World Translation, the Society's president said, but while recognizing the merits of the pronunciation Yahweh, the translation committee has used the form Jehovah because of its familiarity and because it preserves the 4 original letters of the Hebrew name. Now that's kind of a weird reasoning because Yahweh also preserves the original 4 letters. So it's kind of a weird argument. Even if you want to say that Jehovah is the most correct pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton of Yod He Vav He, the English pronunciation that you're putting on it of Jehovah, of the hard J sound, Jehovah, is not accurate. All right. So even if you want to still try to argue and salvage this argument, well, you're still not pronouncing it right, and your organization isn't pronouncing it right because everything's pronounced with a hard J, Jehovah, which is not a sound in the Hebrew alphabet. All right. And so again, it was a Jehovah's Witness who showed me this article and gave me the link to it. Readily admitting, completely fine admitting that the organization, that within the organization's own history and its own publications, is fine with admitting that Jehovah is not the most correct pronunciation of God in the Bible. But just looking at a couple things really quick here of something that I found on YouTube is that there's this guy's channel, which is called Hebrew Gospels. So you could go onto YouTube and type in Hebrew Gospels and you'll pull up this gentleman. Fluent in Hebrew, incredible scholarly work on Hebrew. Okay, he has all these videos where he walks you through like 1 through 15. And on video 13 is where he actually tells you what he believes the correct pronunciation of God is in the Bible. So starting with video 1 all the way to 13, each of these videos is about an hour long. Some of them an hour and a half. Some of them, and these last ones are over 2 hours. So he goes meticulously, point by point by point by point for hours and hours and hours, all the way up till video 13, to where he finally concludes with this.
So, here is the true pronunciation of the Creator's name. And how do we pronounce this? We pronounce this as Yahweh.
I was shocked when he said that the correct pronunciation was Yahweh. And again, he points out that it's not with the guttural Yah, but it's more of a lighter Yahweh. Because that's what we've been saying all along. And I was like, no way. Like we go full circle and that's the actual true pronunciation that he concluded. I thought that was very interesting. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if this was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. May the Lord shine the light of his beauty and his truth into your mind, your soul, and your body, and give you strength to do his will for his kingdom. Thank you so much for watching this video. Take care.